anger, sadness, frustration, fear. These emotions happen. Does the truth of non-duality free you from these feelings and bring you to a state of eternal bliss? Let's discuss. Hi, this is Russ Rapp, and much like the show Seinfeld, my YouTube channel is about nothing, or no thing. And today we're going to talk in this video about feelings. So that we're talking about being angry or feeling sad or nervous, anxious, jealous, any types of feelings you may have. And we're going to talk about how that relates to this idea of non-duality, or when people say they've had an awakening. And so if you stick to the end of the video, I'm going to give you a really simple way to understand how feelings, emotions relate to non-duality. And the reason why I want you to stay to the end of the video is we're going to have a longer discussion here to kind of give you some more details, but I want you to stay to the end because YouTube, the algorithm, notices how long people listen to videos, and so from a way to get more attention and views for my video, I want you to stay to the end. So I'm just being completely honest here, but it's a really good nugget of information here, so stay to the end and you'll appreciate it. And so as we talk about feelings, before we get into how that really relates to non-duality, I think we should talk about what non-duality is. Most likely, if you've come to my YouTube channel, you have some inkling about what non-duality is, if you've heard people describe it before. And so I just wanted a quick touch on what that means. Essentially, non-duality means not two, and so there is no duality, there is no dual. So there's no right and wrong, there's no yes, no, there's no inside, outside, there's no us, them. Any type of duality, light, dark, doesn't really exist or is an illusion. But non-duality isn't a belief system. So this is where I think people get confused, because a lot of times when people discuss non-duality, they relate it to some idea of an awakening experience where the illusion falls away and you're just as everything is as it's supposed to be, and you kind of lose that sense of self. But when it's what that can happen is it becomes kind of a belief system. And so when people hear the non-duality described, they get confused, because on one hand they feel like, well, I believe that this is an illusion, and that everything is that it is, and there is no separation, and so there should be this sense of bliss, and so I shouldn't be sad or angry or have any of these emotions. And really that's just a mind game trying to grasp something, trying to make non-duality a belief system. And so if you somehow believe the truth, that your life will magically change. But with non-duality, it's not about it's really about the illusion of separation. And so we see things with our five senses. We see that we hear, we touch, we taste, smell, we use our eyes to see. And so when we're talking about non-duality, it's sometimes I think people take that as, well, everything is an illusion, so what I'm seeing in the material world doesn't really matter, and that falls away, and somehow that no longer is relevant or doesn't exist. But it's not, non-duality isn't saying that the material world isn't real, because it's both real and unreal. It's just the idea of separation as an illusion. And so when you take non-duality as a belief and you start to say, well, everything is an illusion, everything I see is not real, then you start to wonder why you have these emotional reactions to that, or you may feel depressed, or you feel like your life is hopeless, or there's no meaning to life, because we give everything its meaning. And so what that can seem like is that you have these feelings of negative feelings, I guess you could say. But that's really just your separate self trying to attach some sort of belief system to the truth. Because the truth, or non-duality, you can describe it as many ways, but love is one that people use, or freedom, or the ultimate truth. And however you describe it, those words have a contextual meaning in the world that we live in. But those are all pointing to this idea that non-duality, or the truth, is the foundation for an awakening experience. And so when you have this experience of awakening, or all the the crap that you believe falls away, or you have an emotional catharsis or something, the reason why that is available, or the reason why that happens, is because the truth itself is the foundation of that experience being able to manifest itself, that lack of separation. And so a lot of times people, when they're thinking about I had an awakening experience, or I understand non-duality, they make some mental errors as far as what that really means, and that plays a factor into how they relate to having emotions and that sort of thing. And really, when it comes down to it, the focus is on what I'm feeling, or what you're feeling right now. And so if, let's say, I have an awakening experience, what I want to have is that this person, this individual, what I see as myself, I want that to be free and released. I'm not so much concerned about you, the listener, the person watching this video. I'm not really concerned about your feelings or your situations. And so I want to claim that release as something that I have. And so when we talk about awakening, it's awakening for the someone, or the self. And that in itself is an illusion, because the concern is all self-centered, I guess you could say. And then there's an illusion of time, where if you think about it in these terms, we try to think of an awakening as an experience that happens in time. And if right now you're feeling some sort of emotion, sadness, happiness, anger, frustration, anxiety, you're thinking, you notice that you have this experience, and so on a certain level it's real to the separate self. But what a lot of non-dual teachers say, it is happening, but it's not happening to no one. And what they mean by that is emotions and feelings happen, but when you think about it as an awakening experience, you're thinking that all of a sudden you have these bliss moments and you learn the truth and you no longer have these negative emotions. But time itself is an illusion when it comes to non-duality. So from a mental state, if you think about it, if you've had emotions in the past, then that means that at one point they were real in your separate experience, or in your memory. And so the idea that somehow emotions will go away is really just a way to avoid or to run away from them. And so I notice this a lot when people make comments to other videos, or when in other non-dual speakers, when they have conversations with people. I notice a lot of men especially tend to focus on this idea of not wanting to have these emotions, and emotions aren't the problem. They aren't bad. And so when it comes to non-duality, it's really about total acceptance. It's about accepting everything that happens, everything that's happening as of what is. And so anytime that you try to run away from something, or say that something shouldn't be happening, if non-duality is real and I believe it, I shouldn't be experiencing this or feeling that, you're not really accepting what is. And so, paradoxically, when you're not accepting what is, there's an experience of not accepting. And so Non-duality doesn't care if you accept or not. And so that acceptance is just what it is. Your experience is that you're not accepting something, but that is just another experience that has an emotion and a story tied to it. And so total acceptance is whether you accept this as truth or you accept it as crap or whatever, it doesn't really matter. And so really when you accept everything, essentially you don't have an opinion about everything. And so as the separate self, your experience is you're having an opinion, you're not accepting, or you're judging, or this feeling that you're having you don't like. And so on that level, you have an opinion about it, but from a non-dual level, that's not a personal type of a connection, there really is no opinion of everything. And the reason why there's no opinion is because it's happening. And so I appreciate you staying to the end of this video, like I said at the beginning, because the simplest way that you can kind of think about this, or you can consider what I'm trying to say as far as emotions and just accepting them and not running away from them, is just to ask yourself a question right now. Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling happy? Am I feeling anxious? And if you are, perfect. Another way to say it is, am I feeling like I don't understand? Am I feeling like I can't accept anything? Is my mind racing? Is any of this happening? Am I angry? Am I upset? That's okay. Whatever it is what it is. Non-duality is a truth that doesn't require time. It doesn't require space. It just is. And so when you ask yourself this question, am I mad right now? And if you have that experience of being mad, that's perfectly fine. And that's where I think people run into trouble, is that they want to have this blissful experience that lasts forever. But what happens in an experience is whatever it is. And so the message of non-duality isn't some awakening experience where your life's perfect now. It's really just being open and accepting what is, or not. So if you could, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel by clicking that button below, because what I'd like to do, and I'll probably try it anyway, is to do some live talks to see how that works. But the more subscribers, the more chance you have to be able to listen to me, and so I can grow my YouTube channel. And I just want to appreciate you for sticking around and listening to the whole show, the Seinfeld show about nothing. So until next time, I just want to wish you peace, and it's been real and unreal.